Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I will be teaching you how to do a Mopar fast flush for your cooling system. So your first step is you're going to want to open it up, and you're going to want to take the fast flush there, and you're going to want to pour that into your radiator. We'll do that right now. A little bit of pressure. Balance you there. So you're going to want to pop it, and you're just going to pour it in slowly. Or you're going to want to get as much of it as you can into your radiator. And then when your radiator's full, pour the rest into your reservoir. So after you get that done, you're going to want to put your cap back on, and you are going to want to run your engine and get it nice and warm. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go for a drive, and I'm going to pick up some pails. Another thing you'll need is pails. I need a couple more than that, and coolant, which I've got in here. I mix my coolant 50-50, so my truck needs 22 liters of coolant, so I need 11 liters of concentrate. So I will be back shortly and with the next step. Another thing I wanted to note is while you have it warming up, have your settings for your heat all the way full blast, and I put it to defrost and floor. That way it opens up your oh my gosh, can't even think of the word, but so it opens it up and flushes in there and gets all the coolant clean in there too. So I'm gonna let my truck idle. I know, check engine light. I'm gonna let my truck idle and go eat some supper. Alright, so my truck is now nice and warm. And what I'm gonna wanna do is I'm gonna wanna remove that hose right there. There's the lower rad hose. And that will allow my coolant to drain. And while I'm letting it drain, I'm going to pop the upper rad hose, since the thermostat is still open, and I'm going to flush water in through this hose, and it'll flush around hopefully, and then out through there. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to keep my radiator cap popped and flush water in through there as well. But it is now starting to rain, so I will film when I can. Alright, so what I like to do after I've drained it is put my upper and lower rad hoses back on, after you're pretty well sure the radiator's empty anyway. And then put your hoses back on, fill your radiator full of water, and fire your vehicle up. Same thing, heater on full. And of course, I'm trying to work on my truck outside, and we're raining, so I'm soaking wet. But anyways, while you let it climb, your temperature climb, just relax. I'm gonna personally have some beer and play some Pixel Car Racer. So I will check in with you in a few minutes when my temperature's gone up. Shouldn't take too long, the engine's warm, just the water isn't. And we'll drain out that water, and then we'll get to the filling process. Alright, so it's just about at 9, well, it's at about 85, 75, so I'm just gonna speed it up a little. It's getting rainy, and I really want to go inside and get this done with, but I sit at 1500 for a few seconds, and it's already climbing. Anyways, I'm gonna go with 90. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drain it all again, flush it out again, just like I was before. The rain seems to have stopped. Maybe I'll get a few shots of that. while I'm doing it. But yeah, so I will catch up with you in just a second. Alright, so the rain has let up. I figured I'd show you what I'm doing. I've got the upper rad hose off this time, and I'm just gonna run water straight through there, get it again, like I said, all flushed out. I'm draining it into these buckets. I'm sorry, environment. Oh well, I'm graveling it anyway soon. Yeah, I'm gonna get that flusher through the thermostat there, and hopefully see some stuff coming out of the other rad hose. I'll catch up with you. So after you drain it all out, what I'm doing this time actually is I'm taking the thermostat out because it doesn't seem to stay open for me. On this truck it is 3 8mm bolts, and then this comes off, and then your thermostat here. Be careful when you're taking it off. You don't want this seal to break or lose it, because I haven't bought another one. I will replace it, however, when I get to work tomorrow and I can order the part.
Hi.
Hello. And then I'm just going to run water straight into there. And if you notice, it's going to start coming out of the lower rad hose down there, which you've already seen me take off. So another thing you can do is you can pop the thermostat out and then put this back on, fill your radiator full of water and run it, and that way it doesn't have to get warm. But and what I like to do is keep spraying till this water starts to come out clean. As you can see, it's still yellow. I've got an orangish tint to it. And I will check back with you on the next stop. Yeah. So I'd say we're pretty good. We've flushed enough fluid out. Typically you shouldn't probably dump all this onto the floor, but I'm not too worried. It happens. So I'm gonna get it all put back together. What I am gonna try to do is take my coolant reservoir bottle off and dump that out, give it a quick rinse, and go from there. So now I'm just putting all my hoses back on and securing all my points where it might leak, so it doesn't do that. And then it's time to fill her up. I know, I wish I had real hose clamp pliers, but I don't. Working with what I got. And what I got is what's working. So I've got 12 liters, well roughly 12 liters of this Mopar antifreeze 5-year or 250,000 kilometers. And what I'm going to do, and how I like to do it, is I like to put all 12 liters of my coolant in first, because I can guarantee there's still some water in the system. So if you put your 12 liters in and then you fill it with water, it's the closest thing to 50-50 you can get, instead of mixing 50% in, or mixing it 50-50 as you pour it, because then you might end up with more water and less coolant. Quality, my camera has run out of space. I need a larger than 4GB card. My little brother has offered to film on his phone for me. So this is now the third jug of coolant to go in. So there you go. That's 12 liters, or close to 12 liters you can get, because these are only 3.78 liter jugs, because it's a US gallon. And then from here, you want to fill it full of water till your radiator's full, and then you're going to want to run your truck or your car or whatever you're doing this on till it's warm, let the coolant flow. You're going to check, and you're going to want to burp your system, and we'll get back to you with how to do that. So now I am, like I said, filling it with water, letting the air merge. Another quick way to do it is squeeze your upper rad hose to push the air, because that's where a lot of your air is going to be, in your upper rad hose, because your thermostat's closed. So you're going to want to squeeze it, get the air out. Like I said earlier, my coolant reserve tank is full of water, and that holds about 3 liters. So there's already 2.5, 3 liters of water in my system that will cycle in as the engine runs and as it fills and whatever. So as you see, my radiator is now full. So clip in here. My rad cap on. Double check that all my connections are tight, and they look like they are, and then we start again. So the purpose for starting it, and again letting it run, is to cycle in all the new coolant and everything. So again, starting, the water pump's going to become active once it gets warm, which shouldn't again take very long. You're going to want to do the same thing with your heater. Turn it on full blast, full heat, defrost and floors, so you're getting full use. And you're just going to let it run for a few minutes. So let all that new coolant cycle in. Another thing you can do is use that. If you have a funnel with a plug, you can pop your radiator cap off and pour water in there. What I'm going to do, not on there, I can already see the level going down, because I'm going to want to add water as it runs. fall out onto the floor, because that's bad for the environment. So what I'm doing is I'm taking these 3 bins to the shop and dumping them in our coolant bin. So this stuff is cooling system conditioner, and what it does is it prolongs the life of the coolant you just worked hard to put in your vehicle. So you can buy these kits at Mopar or so any of your Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler dealerships, but other dealers have similar things, as well as your local parts stores such as Napa or Bumper to Bumper, and they'll sell kits. I just use the Mopar branded stuff because that's the stuff I get cheap. And what you do with this is while your engine is running, you shake it up real good, as you've seen in an earlier clip. Pull up the top, and now it's going to get loud. You probably won't be able to hear me like in those other clips, but you're going to want to pour this directly into your radiator with your engine running. So this gets cycled through and keeps your shit good. So once again, anyways, so that is how you do a Mopar Fast Flush or any other brand's equivalent on a 2001 Dodge, and if you're smart, I'm sure you can figure out how to do it on your own vehicle. Anyways, like, subscribe, have fun, and check back for more.